Hello everyone, hope you're doing fine. In this video, we are going to talk about frequently occurring types of essays that are asked in IELTS Writing Task 2. And this is going to be helpful for both general module as well as academic module students or candidates taking the exam. Yeah. So without further delay, let's get into it. Yeah. Now, by the end of this video, you'll have become familiar with different IELTS essay types. Yeah, and I'm talking about frequently occurring types that people are confused about. So don't worry, by the end of this video, it'll become all clear. What next? We'll also have gained knowledge about how these essay questions are structured. So what are some key phrases, expressions that are normally used in different types of essays? And last but not the least, we'll also look at some types of questions which can be a little deceptive and confusing if we are not well prepared. Yeah? So by the end of this video, we're going to cover all these 3 points. So stick till the end. Okay. Before we move into the types of essays, let's see what does an essay question look like. So how it is structured, what makes a good essay question in IELTS. Yeah. Now, take a look at this question. Some people think parents should teach children how to be good members of society. Others, however, believe that school is the best place to learn this. Discuss both these views and give your own opinion. So, in any IELTS question, you will normally have a topic statement which gives you the background, and you will have a task statement which tells you what you're supposed to address in your essay. So if you look at this question, can you tell me what's the topic statement? Yeah, and a hint, a topic statement normally gives us a specific context or background situation for the essay. Yeah, so pause this video if you need more time. I have absolutely no issues. Yeah, try to do this. Hopefully you might have tried and you might have got the same answer. Now, the part that you see in orange brackets is the topic statement. So it tells us that the specific topic that we need to address in the essay is all about teaching children to be good members of society, to be socially responsible, to respect the rules and regulations of society. So who is better, parents or school? Yeah, so we normally have, and let's try to jump into another one. So it's the exact same question, but this time, tell me what's the task statement. And this should be fairly easy because earlier, if the topic statement was the initial part of the essay, task statement normally is towards the end. So the one which you see within the blue brackets is your task statement. It tells you what is the examiner expecting out of the candidate, when you start writing your essay. So what does he or she wants you to address in your essay? So here we are supposed to discuss both views. So we are supposed to consider both sides of the argument. One side is parents are better to teach children to be socially responsible. The other side is it's the school where they learn best. Yeah, and finally, we are also supposed to give our opinion. So discuss both views and then give your opinion is the entire task that we need to address in our essay. Okay? Okay, so now that we are fairly familiar with topic and task, let's confirm with one more question. Do the same with this question. So divide this question into 2 parts. What's the specific topic of the essay? And what is a task expected out of the candidate in this essay? Yeah, so pause this video if you like, if you need more time, but try it on your own. Okay, now I'll try to give the answer and hopefully you've got the same answers as mine. Okay, there are 2 parts to the task here. That's the hint. So earlier we only have one statement about the task. Here we have 2 statements only about the task. Okay, so the orange brackets tell you what's the topic. People have started to travel more than before. That's the topic. The task in blue brackets is the task. So why is this the case? Why have they started to travel more than before? And the next part of the task is, what are the benefits of traveling for the traveler? So advantages for the traveler if we travel more. Yeah, so there are two parts to the task. One is asking you the cause of the situation. The next is asking you the benefits of traveling only for the traveler, not for other people. Okay, good. So that aside, let's look at commonly occurring words, phrases, and expressions that we frequently read in our essay task sentences. That's stage one of understanding and analyzing the essay task. Because if you don't understand the question, chances are what you prepare will not address all the parts of the task, and that can be dangerous as far as your task achievement score is concerned. Yeah. So without further ado, let's look at these phrases. To what extent we normally see this most of the times: agree, disagree, discuss, suggest measures to solve, causes, advantages, effects, disadvantages, positive development, negative development. So these are the phrases and expressions that we would normally read in our questions. Now what you'll read on the right, in orange boxes, are expressions which have similar meaning to the words and expressions in the blue box. So I want you to, read and match the meaning of the words on the left in blue and words on the right in orange. Change for the better. So which of the blue expressions means change for the better? Think about it. Benefits of an idea. What all can result from something? Corrective actions or solutions against something. How much or how far in favor of something. What all has given rise to something. Consider different sides of an issue. Negative factors of an idea. Change that is harmful or damaging. Yeah? So we have some phrases on the left which mean one of the phrases on the right. So please pause this video if you like and match the expressions in blue boxes to the expressions in orange boxes. Yeah, both should have similar meaning. Okay, try it. Hopefully you've tried it, and let's look at the answers in groups of expressions that might occur together in the question, so that it's more logical and less confusing. Okay, prepared? To what extent means how much or how far. So what's the degree of something? To what extent? How much or how far? Agree means to be in favor of something. That something can be an idea, a proposition, a solution, a suggestion. Yeah, so if you're in favor of something, you agree with that idea. Disagree means to be against something, to be not in favor of something. Yeah? So these three expressions we would normally see together in our task statements of our IELTS Writing Task 2 essays. Yeah? Now let's look at these phrases in context of an IELTS essay question. Ready? Let's go. So this is example 1. Some people believe that unpaid community service should be compulsory part of high school programs. For example, working for a charity, improving neighborhood, or teaching sports to younger children. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Yeah? So as I said, agree, disagree, to what extent are occurring together in the same question. So the question is asking you how much or how far do you agree or disagree with the idea or suggestion given to you in the topic sentence of the essay? And the suggestion is that community work or community involvement projects should be made compulsory for all high school students. So how much or how far do you agree with that proposition? Do you agree with that suggestion? That what you have to address in your essays. Yeah? Let's look at the next example. Governments should spend money on railways rather than roads. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this statement? Again, how much or how far do you agree that it's a good idea for governments to fund more of railways rather than roads? Yeah, so if I had to rephrase or reword the essay, that is the exact reword that would be appropriate. Yeah? So how much or how far do you agree with the solution that government should fund railways more than roads? That's the question. Yeah? Now both of these questions here. Now both these type of questions which always ask you to take a position or an opinion because they are directly asking you, yeah, how much or how far do you agree with something, some idea, some solution, how much do you disagree with that. So the possibilities are you may completely agree with the idea in the question or the view in the question, or you may completely disagree with the idea in the question or the view in the question. There is an alternative as well. You can also partly agree to selective parts of the idea or the solution. So that is also possible. Yeah. So these type of essays are what we call opinion essays, also known as agree disagree essays. Now what's common is you have to take a position. You have to make clear where do you stand vis-a-vis the view or the solution suggested in the question. Otherwise, your essay wouldn't be answering the parts expected out of you. Yeah? So remember these which have the task statement like to what extent, how much or how far, agree, disagree. So all these expressions and words are the part of opinion essays. Okay? With that done, come back to the remaining expressions and phrases. Yeah, so we had about 8 or 9 expressions and phrases whose meaning we had to match. So this one, discuss, means consider different sides of an issue, and this is normally two sides. Yeah, so every argument will have a view in favor of that idea and a view against that idea. So both are diametrically opposite positions vis-a-vis the idea. And that's exactly what we are supposed to do when we read the word discuss. We are supposed to analyze different sides of an issue from a neutral perspective. Yeah? Now let's see this expression in the context of an IELTS essay. Example number 1. Some people think that it is better to educate boys and girls in separate schools. Others, however, believe that boys and girls benefit more from attending mixed schools. Discuss both these views. So if you see the keywords discuss both these views, and we already have two sides in the question itself. One side is that it's better to educate boys and girls in separate schools, not in co-ed schools. Others say that they learn better if they attend mixed schools. So schools where girls and boys are combined in the same classroom, right? So those are the two views we are supposed to look as a neutral person. Yeah? Here, they aren't expecting your opinion because the task doesn't mention that. The task just says discuss both these views. So you have to be neutral throughout the essay. Yeah, that's important. Let's look at another example. Some people think that parents should teach children how to be good members of society. Others, however, believe that school is the place to learn this. Discuss both these views. So, what we have again, we read the term discuss both these views. What's one view? One view is it's parents' responsibility to teach children to be good members. The other view says they learn something like this better at school and not with parents. So again, we are supposed to don the hat of a neutral person and analyze one view, then analyze the other view. So nowhere in the entire essay will you take a position or give your opinion, because it is not asked. If you give your opinion, you are diverting from the task. So your task achievement score can go down, yeah, or can reduce because you gave your opinion even though they didn't ask one. Okay. Now let's look at both these examples. Both are examples of something which we call discussion essays. Yeah, so in these type of essays, a good clue to remember to analyze these questions is the question itself will have two sides. Some people think A, others think B. Discuss both these views. So it normally follows a template or a pattern like this. Yeah. So whenever you see two essays or two parts of the argument in the same essay question, chances are 90% of the time they will be discussion essays. Yeah. So keep your eye on these sentence structures. Sometimes they will even use contrasting discourse markers like however, while, whereas, nevertheless, nonetheless. But the important point is they'll always show you two sides of an argument right in the question. So that's discussion essays. Clear with that? Okay. Now, again, it's the exact same question that we saw in the earlier essay type, but this is another essay. I want you to read both and tell me, spot the difference. Tell me the part where example number 2, which is below, differs from example number 1. Pause this video if you like. Take your time to read it. Take your time, no problems. Pause it. Okay, hopefully you'll have the same answers as I do, and the important part where both questions differ is this. So the topic part, the initial part of the question is exactly the same word by word. However, the difference is in the task statement. The above question tells you discuss both these views, and the question below tells you discuss both these views and give your opinion. So here in the latter question where they say discuss and give your opinion, first you discuss both the sides of the argument as a neutral person, but when you conclude, in your conclusion, you will always have to take a side. That side can be completely agree with one side, completely agree with the other side, or it can be selective parts of both the arguments. Yeah. But you have to give your position because they have clearly asked it. Yeah. Let's take another one. And it's the exact same question about, children's learning to be socially responsible. Are schools better or are parents better for this task? So first says discuss both views. The next question says discuss both these views and give your opinion. Yeah, so as expected, as discussed in the previous example, here you have to give your opinion when you end the essay. So most probably in the conclusion, you will always have to give your opinion, your position vis-a-vis the argument in the question. Okay. And these two types of questions which have the sentence discuss both views and give your opinion are what we call combined essays. So discussion plus opinion essays, also known as discursive essays in academic jargon. Okay. So discursive in the sense they want us to analyze both sides of an argument, and in our conclusion, we are supposed to give our position, whether we tend to agree with one side or the other side, or we choose to be neutral. So partly agree with one and the other side. Even that is possible. Okay. So I hope it's very important to know the difference between discussion of essays, which are pure discussion essays, and discussion plus opinion essays, which are called discursive essays. Yeah. So discursive essays will always ask you to give your opinion apart from analyzing both the sides as a neutral person. Clear about this? Okay, back to the meaning of task phrases, and I think 4 or 5 expressions still remain to be discussed. Suggest measures to solve. It means give corrective actions or solutions. So give us methods, approaches, or ways how certain issues or problems can be solved. Remedies, solutions, answers. Yeah. Next, effects. What do we mean by effects? What all can result from something. So if an issue is not resolved or corrected, what all can result from that problem. That's what we mean by effects. So when we say effects of global warming, what conditions can global warming lead to? Maybe it will lead to an average rise in global temperature. It will also lead to a lot of flooding because of the melting of the ice cover at places which are freezing. So these are all effects of global warming. So all conditions that can result from some issue, some problem. What do we mean by causes? What all has given rise to something? So that's an important contrast. What all factors have given rise to global warming? And what all factors can result from global warming? So the former is what we call causes of global warming, yeah, and the latter is what we call the effects. So that's an important distinction there to be mindful of. Okay, let's see these in context of an IELTS essay question. Ready? Here we go. Example number 1. In some countries, the average weight of people is increasing and their levels of health and fitness are decreasing. What do you think are the causes of these problems and what measures could be taken to solve them? Yeah. So as you might have rightly pointed out, the task part of the question has words. What do you think are the causes? Yeah. So what are the factors that has resulted in people's fitness levels decreasing and their health levels degrading than before? Yeah, so what are the causes of that? Maybe sedentary lifestyle, or we don't exercise much because everything is readily available. We spend a lot of time on computers, smart devices, and we don't play much physical games. Yeah, so all these are the causes of this problem. And what measures could be taken to solve them? So how can we correct this situation? Yeah, so it's talking about causes of health degrading and fitness levels decreasing, and solutions that can be taken into account to correct the situation or remedy the situation in place. Yeah? So that's causes and solutions. Example number 2. In many countries, the amount of crime is increasing. What do you think are the main causes of crime? How can we deal with those causes? Yeah. So there are 2 parts again to the task part of the essay. One part is, what do you think are the main causes of crime? So why do you think people commit crime in the first place? Maybe there's a lot of social inequality or a problem of unemployment. Yeah, a lot of young people, they don't get opportunities, or there's a lot of disconnect between the rich and the poor, or lack of government help or facilities for people to start working, incentive to start business, which tends to motivate them to commit crime. So all these can be causes of crime. How can we deal with those causes? So dealing with something is nothing but correcting that situation or solving that situation. So it's again talking about causes of crime and how can we deal with those crimes. So causes and solutions. You see the pattern, right? Exactly. So both these are what we call causes and solutions type of essays. Sometimes instead of asking you solutions, they will also ask you effects. Yeah? So effects can be worded like, why do you think, or what do you think are the main causes of crime? And what will result from the situation if it is not corrected? Or what can be the effects of this? Yeah? So that is cause and effects. So both have a almost a negligible distinction, but there is a difference between the two. So solutions are approaches which we use to correct a situation. Effects are the end result of a problem. So if a problem is not corrected, not addressed, something which can result because of that is the end effect. Clear about that? Cool. So let's look at remaining task phrases one by one. Okay, advantages. This is a fairly simple one. It means benefits of an idea or a solution. Yeah? Disadvantages, opposite, negative factors of an idea or harmful factors of an idea, demerits of that idea. So advantages means merits, disadvantages, demerits. It can also be worded as pros and cons. Okay, cool. Let's look at these in the context of an IELTS essay question. Example number 1. Some parents buy their children a large number of toys to play with. What are the advantages and disadvantages for the child of having a large number of toys? So the main topic here is children having many toys, a large number of toys, numerous toys, a variety of toys to play with. So what are the pros of that and what are the cons of that? Merits of that, demerits of that. Yeah. So positive aspects, negative aspects. Yeah? So that's what you see in the question. That's what you see in the question. Yeah. Example number 2. Today, more and more tourists are visiting places where conditions are difficult, such as the Sahara Desert or the Antarctic. What are the benefits and disadvantages for tourists who visit such places? You might have rightly pointed out, benefits means advantages of something, disadvantages, demerits for tourists. Yeah. So the topic is people are traveling to extreme conditions or extreme places like Sahara and Antarctic. What are the benefits of that to the people traveling and what are the disadvantages of that people traveling? Okay. So both these are something which we call pros and cons type of essays. Advantages, disadvantages essays. They're fairly straightforward, nothing confusing or nothing much which is deceptive going on in this essay questions. Okay, good. And the last two phrases I promise. Yeah, so no more phrases after this. Positive development means some change for the better. So change which is beneficial to people, to society or to a specific group. Negative development is the opposite, change that is harmful or damaging or detrimental to population, society or a specific group. Okay, so positive development, negative development. I'm sure you might have seen phrases similar to this in the essay questions. So let's look at these in the context of IELTS question. Example number 1. Nowadays, the way many people interact with each other has changed because of technology. So that's the topic. So technology affecting the interaction between people, relationship between people, connection between people. Yeah? So how they approach, how they connect, how they make relationships, that is being changed because of technology. In what ways has technology affected the types of relationship people make? So that is part 1 of the task. Part 2, has this become a positive or negative development? So the second part is what has our key phrases, right? Has this become a positive or negative development? They are asking you, in your opinion, is this change which is brought about by technology beneficial to us or is it detrimental to us? Is it harmful to us in the long run? Yeah, so positive development or is it a negative development? And what this is referring to, the changes in relationships brought about by technology. And you can talk about technology like email communication, video conferencing, or video calling. You can also talk about how relationships between teachers and students have changed. Now, in case you want a detailed answer for this, I have another video which you can go by clicking to the I mark which you will see on the top of your video, and I have a step by step, sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph essay tutorial on that. Yeah, so I physically attempt that paper with writing with the pen on paper. So you will get an insight into what goes behind the scenes to come up with a good essay. Okay, so if you need that, please click on the I mark on the top of the screen that you will see. If you can't see that, I'll share the link in the description of the video so that you can just go around and see that video. Okay, now let's look at, so that's the exact same essay type. And what's different in this essay question compared to a lot of other essay questions is it has multiple types, or it has multiple parts of task which need to be addressed by the candidate. So that's part number one. So in your essay, the first part you need to address is, in what ways has technology affected the types of relationships? So how has technology changed the types of relationships we make? So maybe we make a lot of virtual connections than before, and the personal face-to-face communication has decreased or declined compared to before because of availability of inexpensive video calling, video conferencing, social networks, things like that. So that's part number one. Part number two is, has this become a positive or negative development? So this part is asking about, is asking you to give your opinion on the question, whether you think it's a beneficial change or whether you think it's a negative change, it's a detrimental change or harmful change. Yeah. So these kind of essays are called multidimensional essays, or sometimes other trainers like to refer to it as two-part or double question questions. Yeah. Now, multidimensional essays because the parts in the task are two dimensions that need to be addressed, but both the dimensions are related to the same overall theme. So both the questions part 1 and part 2 are related to the theme of technology affecting the relationship or changing the relationships which we make. Yeah. Let's look at some other questions which are similar to or which fall under the category of multidimensional essays, two-part essays. Increasing the price of petrol is the best way to solve traffic and pollution problems. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So that's part number 1. What other measures do you think might be effective? That's part number 2. Now, if you might have analyzed, part number 1 has borrowed an element from the opinion essays or agree-disagree essays, and that is an important attribute of multidimensional essays, two-part questions. Some parts in two-part questions may be borrowed from any of the types of essays that we saw earlier. Yeah, so it can be an agree-disagree part. It can be, why or what is leading to this problem, so causes of this problem. It can also be lead to solutions. So part 2 in this question is asking you what other measures can be effective. So what are the other solutions that you suggest to correct this situation of traffic and pollution problems? Yeah. So that's an important thing to remember, that multidimensional essays can borrow a lot of elements from the other types. It may be cause-effect essays, it may be agree-disagree essays, it may be discuss both views essays, yeah, or it may be advantages, disadvantages essays. Yeah, the moral of the story is it may borrow some parts from the other essay types. Today more people are traveling than ever before. Why is this the case? So part number 1, as you might have guessed or analyzed, is asking you the cause of people traveling more than before. And the next part is benefits of traveling for the traveler. So the first part is borrowed from cause effect type essays, and the second part is borrowed from advantages disadvantages essay. So it's asking you about advantages of traveling for the traveler. So how can travelers benefit by traveling more than before? So these fall under the category of multidimensional essays. I hope it will be absolutely clear. Now on to some deceptive or confusing essay questions. Yeah? So these are nothing but disguised as some other essay types. In effect, they are different types of essays and not that. Let's look at them one by one. Some experts believe it is better for children to begin learning a foreign language at primary school rather than secondary school. So that's a view given to you. It's a side or a suggestion given to you in the question. Yeah. So it's almost designed like an opinion question because it only has one view or one side of the argument in the question. The task statement says, do the advantages of this outweigh the disadvantages? And the keyword here is outweigh. So just because there are terms like advantages, disadvantages, do not mistake this to be a pros and cons essays because it is not. It is a direct question posed to you. In your opinion, do you feel that this approach has more advantages than disadvantages or vice versa? So making children learn foreign language at primary, will it have more benefits than drawbacks or vice versa? So you have to agree or disagree with that. So if you say that yes, it is beneficial for children, then you will have the view that advantages outweigh or surpass the disadvantages. If you think otherwise, that it's no use starting a foreign language at primary school because their cognitive senses are not that much developed to learn a new language, then you would say there are more drawbacks than merits or advantages to this approach. But it is an opinion essay. You have to make it clear what's your position. Are the advantages more or the disadvantages more? Yeah. So do not mistake this as a pros and cons essay. On to our next type of question. In recent years, many small local shops have closed because customers travel to large shopping centers or malls to do their shopping. Is this a positive or a negative development? Yeah. Now, just because like the earlier question, you see terms like positive and negative development, it is again not an advantages and disadvantages essay because it's a direct question. Is this a positive development? So in your opinion, is it a change for better or for worse? So is it a change which can be helpful in the long run or which can be detrimental in the long run? What change? That local shops have started closing because customers are tending more towards, huge shopping complexes, large malls, supermarkets. Yeah. So that's what is the topic of the question. Again, this is an opinion essay and not an advantages and disadvantages essay because it is a direct question. So you have to make your position absolutely clear and straightforward in your introduction itself. Last one. Some people think that being able to communicate with others online is breaking down geographical barriers and enabling people who would normally never have a chance to meet to communicate. So if you had to reword this, yeah, it's like online modes of communication like video chatting or instant messaging are helping people who are geographically from different locations to communicate well than before. If they didn't have online mediums or online media, they would never be able to communicate like comfortably like this. Yeah. So what are the advantages of international communication online? Are there any disadvantages to this? Now, if you, again, it is not a clear-cut advantages, disadvantages question. The first part of the question, what are the advantages of international communication, is asking you the pros. So what are the merits of more and more online modes of communication to people, and people who belong to different regions globally? Yeah. So that's what it's asking you. The next type or the next question part, are there any disadvantages to this, is a direct question, and there you have to give your opinion. So if you say there are any disadvantages to it, you say that yes, there are some disadvantages because people have almost decreased the level of face-to-face personal communication because of these online communication channels. But you can also answer it in a no, that no, in my opinion, it doesn't have any disadvantages because it's more helpful to them than detrimental. So the second part is an opinion part. It's not a disadvantages part. The first part, you have to state the advantages from a neutral person. So there you cannot say there are no advantages to this. You have to treat the statement given to you in the essay as absolute truth. State the advantages. The next part is subjective. You can either state disadvantages if you feel there are any, or you cannot and say, I don't believe that there are any major disadvantages of this development or this change or this trend. Yeah. So these are some of the deceptive and confusing essay questions. Just because you see the expressions and words, don't get deceived or fooled into choosing it as a clear pros and cons, causes and effects kind of essay. Always read it. See how it's worded. If it's asking you a direct response or a question, it's most probably an opinion essay. Yeah. So those are some deceptive and confusing essay questions that you need to be extra careful about. So hopefully you might have understood everything that was going on until now and how different essay types are structured, the expressions they use, the style they use. So you have a better understanding. If you're confused about any of the types discussed, please pause the video, rewind, go back to your selective part, watch it again and again until you become absolutely clear. Because one of the most difficult and challenging things for a candidate is understanding what the essay is asking. Yeah, so addressing all parts of the task is number one thing which you need to be extra careful about. Even before you start brainstorming your ideas or planning different ideas, you have to be absolutely sure about the type of essay. Yeah, so please check your understanding by taking the short test, and I expect you to solve all the papers or all the parts of the test. And please feel free to share your responses or answers to these questions or test in the comment box below, or in either our Twitter channel or our Facebook group. Yeah, and the address I'll be sharing towards the end of this. So don't worry about that right now. So question number 1, pause this if you like. I'll be going quickly to keep this short and sweet. So would you take a side or be neutral for the below essay? So in short, it's asking you read the essay prompt and decide whether you have to take an opinion or just discuss both the arguments as a neutral perspective. Yeah? Always break it down into specific topic and task. So there are 2 parts for every essay question, topic and task. That should clearly give you an answer whether you need to take an opinion or be neutral. Question number 2. So that's the essay, that's the question. It is thought by some that a school teacher's role is to motivate and inspire students. However, other people think the primary role of the teacher is to pass on knowledge. what do you think is the role of the teacher? So do you have to give your opinion in this essay? Yeah. So it's basically a reword would be, do you think it's an opinion essay or do you think it's a discussion essay? Again, break it down into specific topic and task. Question number 3. So here we have two types of questions and read the two types. Pause the video if you want more time to read. Which of the two essays below is asking you to talk about pros and cons of an idea? So one of the two essays is a straightforward advantages and disadvantages essay. So which one is that? Is it A or is it B? And if it's one of the two, which is the other one? Also think about that. So I'm expecting your responses in the comment box or on our Twitter channel and our Facebook group. And the last question, again, two questions, question A and question B. Which one of the two is causes solutions and which is causes effects type of an essay? So one of the two is asking you to state the causes and solutions. The other is asking you to discuss causes and effects. So is A causes solutions or is B causes solutions? Which one is causes solutions and which one of the two is causes effects? Again, break it down into topic and task and you should have your answers clear and straightforward manner. Good. So again, a quick review of all the concepts that we dealt with in this video. We learned about different types of essays. Yeah, so we learned about opinion, agree, disagree essays, discussion essays, discursive essays, which is discussion plus opinion. We also learned about problems and solutions type of essays, causes, effects essays, advantages, disadvantages, and two-part essays. Okay. How essay questions are structured, so the expressions that these question prompts frequently use, and how some expressions directly tell us what type of essay do we have to write about. Yeah, so how these essays are structured. Always there's a topic and the task. Topic part, the task part. How some essay questions can be deceptive and confusing. So just because you have the expressions in those questions, don't be fooled or deceived. Read it closely. If it's a direct question, most probably it's going to be an opinion essay. Okay, so hopefully you'll have made all these three concepts clear in this video. Whatever clarifications you need from me, please share your comments in the comment box so that I'll read and I'll try to reply as much as I can. And that's it from me. What's next? So I plan to deep dive into opinion kind of essays, agree, disagree kind of essays. So how do we plan, ideate, brainstorm, come up with a good foolproof plan for opinion essays and most effective frameworks and possible responses for opinion essays. So that's on the radar as far as my future videos is concerned. So keep an eye on this channel's updated videos so that you get them first. Yeah, good. Related videos and topics, that's the thumbnails, which are topics which are related directly or indirectly to the video which is discussed now. And below what you see is a Facebook group address and a Twitter handle. So please share and communicate to us if you need anything as far as IELTS is concerned. It will be of great help. Thanks a lot for joining me today and hope this video might have helped you. Happy learning and take care. Goodbye.